does not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, party people. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown and Anthony Hartwick alongside DJ Yoakley. We're both in our respective home studios today, and we have a great show lined up. We have four coaches that we're going to let you hear from, as it's kind of a coach's corner day for volleyball as we kind of preview the tournament with these teams and also recap the regular seasons that they've had. We're going to hear from Coach Auer from Crestview, Coach Irons from South Range, Coach Hughes from Western Reserve, and then Coach Nesbitt from Canfield. They all have advanced to the next round of the tournament, and they will play. I think they all play tonight, as a matter of fact, in their next round games. So it's going to be a fun show with that. We have scores to recap from last night. Actually, one of the more busy Wednesdays with tournament time. Tournaments have been heavy on Wednesdays, so we'll go through the volleyball scores first. Austintown Fitch, they take care of business in their first round game. They hosted Cleveland Heights, and they won in sweeping fashion. Jocelyn Jordan led the Falcons with 11 kills. Riley Simons, 32 assists. She continues to impress as a freshman setter, already broken the season assist record, the match assist record. So she's well on her way to becoming one of the best setters in Fitch program history, just as a freshman already. Afton Roby had 6 aces, 9 kills. Kylie Folkwine, 8 kills, 5 digs. And then Simons also with her assists. She had 9 aces and 19 service points. So obviously, looking at these numbers, the Falcons really did a lot of damage on the service line. Final set score is 25-8, 25-7, 25-8, and the Falcons will be home again in the sectional final on Saturday as they host Nordonia with a trip to districts on the line. East Liverpool got the 3-0 win over Philo as the Potters had a really impressive regular season and don't lose any steam into playoffs as they win in sweeping fashion over Philo, which we and Richie had to do some deep diving yesterday to see where the heck Philo even was. It's down up in the river, and it would have, if it was on the road, which it wasn't. It was not on the road for East Liverpool. It would have been like a 2.5-hour drive from East Liverpool to Philo. So talk about a bus trip for Philo going down to East Liverpool. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, on a Wednesday night? It's always a tough drive, and you know, a lot of people when we talk about these conferences, they don't understand that it's not just about football. You got to think about, especially like 7th and 8th graders in the middle of the week. You know, and if you're taking 2.5-hour jaunts to places during the week, that's 5 hours essentially that you're taking away from the kids to do homework or the kind of school life balance that they want them to have. So yeah, 2.5-hour drive, not exactly ideal, but I'm sure that, when you're up against it, you got to get some of these games in, and especially when playoff time comes, you don't necessarily have a choice.
This is one of the negative effects of a super district. We've so many positive effects, so many cool matchups that happen now in the districts, but you have a bigger pool of teams, which means there's a bigger chance of long travel and early round games, which used to, back in the day in tournaments in every sport, you'd be like, hey, well, let's go to districts in Mineral Ridge, or let's go to districts in United Districts in Salem for volleyball. didn't really have to travel too much for your local district. But now that there's so many teams in one district, 26 to be exact, like in Division 3, you gotta be, these locations can't exactly be local to your 13 teams that are in your local district, and so that's why some of these districts aren't local, and some of these matchups aren't exactly local because there's a bigger pool of teams to pick from.
Yeah, Siggy says that the East District is so rural and spread out. I couldn't agree more.
All right, we'll continue into the scores as Edgewood knocked off Ursuline in 4 sets last night, 3-1. Edgewood putting together a pretty impressive season up in Ashtabula, playing a lot of tough teams. They have to play Kirtland twice, and Kirtland is ranked 13th in the state. So they flex their muscles a little bit in the sectional and win in 4. West Branch gets their 3rd win over Salem of the season. They sweep the Quakers in 2 sets were pretty competitive, and then West Branch put their foot down in the final one to earn the sweep. Middle Ridge got Brookfield drawn in the first tournament game, and me and Richie talked about it yesterday. Kind of interesting that they end the regular season against each other, and then they open the tournament against each other. So back-to-back sweeps for the Rams over the Warriors as they win 3-0. Garrettsville Garfield takes care of Rootstown 3-0 as they advance into the sectional finals. That was their last home game of the year for Garfield. They will travel to Berkshire for that sectional final on Saturday. So congratulations to Garfield on a great home slate. I believe they only lost one home game all season, and that was to Crestview.
Wow.
McDonald gets the sweep over East Canton 3-0. So they move on. Louisville fought hard against Walsh Jesuit on the road, but eventually fall in 4 sets, 3-1. Louisville was down 2-0, and they won the 3rd set 25-23. Looked to try to take some momentum in the 4th, but Walsh Jesuit ran away with it 25-16 that final set. Beaver Local gets the 3-1 win over the familiar opponent Indian Creek to open up their tournament action. Kinston gets the sweep of Youngstown East, 3-0. Hey, stop me if you've heard this before. Liberty plays 5 sets.
Stop.
As this one doesn't come out in their favor, though. The Leopards end their season with a 3-2 loss to Champion. That is the exact score of the last matchup between the Flashes and the Leopards, 3-2, as Champion gets 2 out of 3 from the Leopards on the season, and they move on in the bracket. Camel beats United out of the tournament again for the 2nd straight year. 3-0 sweep this time around as the Red Devils will advance to play Berkshire in the first game of that doubleheader on Saturday in Berkshire for the sectional championship. Last but not least, in volleyball, Badger beats Oberlin 3-1 as they continue their tournament run into the sectional finals. We go over to girls soccer, Beaver Local East Liverpool, the rivalry. It was all Beavers, 8-0. They get the win, so they get bragging rights for at least the next 300 days until soccer season comes back around and those two teams play each other again next year. It's always good to end like the rivalry, end the year of the rivalry with a win, because then you get bragging rights until the next season comes around.
Well, I mean, that's a different rivalry too. That's the red and blue rivalry, and they play every game as it's a rivalry. Like sometimes it's a rivalry in football, a rivalry in volleyball, and sometimes it's just a natural rivalry every time you suit up against them. And I think this Beaver Local versus East Liverpool will always be that rivalry from that case. I mean, Salem West Branch reminds me a lot of that. Ursuline Mooney every time they get together. I think the bragging rights, technically, you're talking 300 days, but really you're talking a few weeks because they'll be lacing them up on the basketball floor very soon.
It's different when you talk about kids that are multiple sport athletes, and they're probably going to see the same opponent, same exact kid again across from them in basketball season in a few short weeks here. Hubbard and Alliance squared off as Alliance gets the 9-1 win over Hubbard to impress and move on into the tournament. Canfield girls get the win 7-0 over Jefferson. So Canfield is still on their quest for a district championship. First time in Division 2 in a while as the Canfield girls sports all moved down a division this year. So Canfield looking to take advantage of that and play some smaller teams in the district this year. Poland gets the win over Columbiana 9-0. Congratulations to Poland senior Ariana Daniels for breaking the Poland record for goals in a season. She had 3 last night. She will play soccer at the next level. Great soccer player, great athlete. We'll see her in basketball season as well once her soccer run comes to an end for the Bulldogs. Mooney gets the win over Southeast 4-1 as they continue their season into the sectional finals. Waterloo girls, no stopping them, 10-0. They got the win. That was actually 2 nights ago, but we'll go over it again on the scoreboard tonight. They were, I don't know why they weren't lined up with every other girls soccer team, but they got the 10-0 win over Cornerstone Christian. Lakeview gets the 6-0 win over Bristol to continue their season. Lakeview, one of the probably more surprising teams of the year in girls soccer. They only had 4 wins a season ago, and they went neck and neck with Poland this year in the NE8, and it came down to the last matchup between those two to decide the conference. So Lakeview continues their impressive turnaround as a program as they win 6-0 to continue into the next round. The most exciting game of the night was Salem Ursuline. It went into overtime, tied at 3. Back and forth. Ursuline took the early lead. Salem tied up. Then Ursuline took the lead back. Then Salem tied up. Then Salem took a lead. Then Ursuline tied up. But then Salem was able to get the win in overtime, 4-3. And the Quakers are moving on. So what a thriller between those two programs, and both with great futures ahead. Salem looks forward into the sectional final. Struthers and West Branch got together. West Branch unbeaten on the season, state ranked. They did not miss a beat. 10-0. They get the win over the Wildcats, and they move on. Niles and Streetsboro. Niles gets the 4-1 win over the Rockets. We have United going up to Grand Valley, getting a 3-2 win on the soccer field. Springfield was able to move on. They have their second tournament win in a row. They move on to the district semifinals with a 2-0 win over Pymatuning Valley. Badger gets the win over Steubenville Central Catholic 2-1. And last but not least, Champion takes care of Crestview 3-0 on the girls' side to advance to the district semifinal. So those are your tournament scores from last night. We congratulate everybody that moves on, but we also, like every tournament, we have to say goodbye to the teams that were eliminated and in their season.
Do you ever wish that we did? I know you don't watch The Walking Dead, but they have a thing on The Talking Dead. Every time somebody died on the show, they did it in memoriam.
Right.
Maybe we should start putting it
kind of like
that.
Kind of like the cannon fire on the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Where, like the cannons go off, and in the sky you see the fallen members.
A little bit more production value than just putting, a picture of teams in the sky. I think, kind of like the black and white, like.
All right, if we put pictures in the sky, that would be impressive. Okay.
All right.
That's
more of a volunteer.
If we had a sky picture over the office in East Palestine, I think people would be pretty impressed by that.
We're on our way out.
Plus, if we got a cannon to get fired off,
I don't think would be cool with a cannon. They might have something to say about that
cannon
in Columbiana.
Fire. Yeah, I mean that would be kind of just to give some love to the great seasons that these athletes have had. Wins or losses, everyone kind of puts in the same amount of time. They go to practice every night and they work just as hard.
Let's not get carried away.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
Wins and losses. No, I see.
I'm not saying everyone deserves a trophy. I'm not going to go that far.
A little bit right
not
there.
Not a trophy, but everyone deserves. How do I put this?
Everybody deserves a cookie from the Hartwig kitchen.
Well, the cookies are good here. But I put extra chocolate chips to winners. Sprinkles are for winners.
You're right, Jimmy.
You can get a sugar cookie with if you lose.
No, you get the day old cookies.
The day old sugar cookie that's dried up and crunchy.
Winners get the hot and fresh right out of the oven. If you want a loser cookie, you can have all loser cookies.
If you lose, you still deserve to eat and not starve to death. But here's a little. You don't get anything as good as the winners.
You're too nice. That's sorry. Losers don't get cookies in my house.
Hey, Jesus said the last finish first. So
Jesus said that?
Yeah, first will be last, last will be first.
Well, I love Jesus. I love me some Jesus. But last don't finish.
The meek inherit the earth, DJ.
Okay. All right. We've gone too far.
I know we're going off the rails. Let's get back on the rails and talk about tournament action last night. And we just went over the scores real quick. But when I glanced over some of the ones that really stuck out to me, I really like Camel. I kind of we talked to Coach Allen last week, and we talked to Kendall Brunn on Monday a little bit. You kind of felt like a tournament win was coming, but at the same time, it was such an inexperienced team as far as being able to handle success a little bit. I was really interested to see how they would do in their first tournament game with a little bit more expectations on themselves, because last year they went into that tournament with no wins in program history, so no one really expected much out of Camel anyway, and they went and they beat United, and they kind of got a lot of confidence in themselves. But this year they put up a 14-8 season, and that means there's going to be a little bit of expectations on them in the tournament. I was interested to see how they would handle that, and as you break down the numbers, thank you to Coach Allen for sending in the stats. Kendall Brunn, 18 kills, so she didn't slow down one bit. Carla Ramirez Ortiz still setting really well for Camel, 32 assists on the night for her. Syra Cross won the player of the game for Camel that they give out every night. She had 11 kills with also 11 digs on the night as well. 12 digs, 11 kills, 12 digs for a double-double. Ramirez Ortiz had a double-double too. 32 assists, 11 digs for her. And then in aces, Angelise Diaz had 3 to go along with her 10 digs. Carla Ramirez Ortiz had 2 aces for the Devils. But I was really impressed because they kind of never went and slowed down in this tournament game. 25-14, 25-18, 25-16. So I think the question of how they'll handle the expectations and success kind of go away, because they didn't show any signs of hesitation in their first tournament game. So very impressed with Camel, because that was the one big question I had going into the tournament was, okay, you put up a 14-8 season. Can you kind of go out and handle the success of the regular season in the tournament and go out and earn the seed that you were voted? And they definitely have done that so far with a pretty impressive first round win over a United team that has a lot of quality wins on the year. This is a team in United kind of under the radar, because in the EOAC, there's a lot of talk about Southern and Wellsville respectively with great cause. I mean, the great players on Wellsville and Southern, they both put together a great season, but you look at United with players like Grace Knight, who put together a great season on number wise. Taylor Cope is a really good middle blocker. Grace Knight's actually been on our Baird Brothers nominee list, so she's definitely put together a couple of weeks specifically that have been really, really impressive. So it's not a win for Camel to turn your nose up at against United in, and I was impressed with their ability to just keep on keeping on with that. So we go and some other stats that got reported on the night. We were able to get stats from West Branch as they got the win over Salem. We said it 3-0, and they were led by Claire Brunner with 9 kills. Bruner. Sorry, I messed that up yesterday too. McKaylin Fitz had 10 kills as well, 5 blocks in the middle. She's a great middle blocker for the Warriors. Hannah Rush, 15 assists as she continues with 1,000+ in her career. Kendall Cayley, big night at the net as well to go along with the 5 blocks that Fitz had. She had 2 blocks. Reagan Greenison had 16 digs, and then Adele Peters had 11 for the defense. 6-seeded Warriors will go on to play 15-seeded Geneva on Saturday. They will go to Jefferson High School to play at Geneva on Saturday. Tickets can be purchased on the OHSA website. That's another thing to remind people that want to go to these tournament games. Tickets for tournament games can only be purchased on the OHSA site, so make sure that you only go there. They will not be sold at the door for any tournament round at any game. So thank you again for that. Make sure you keep that in mind. Without further ado, we are going to go right into our coaches' corners. We want to get them to you. So we're going to start with Coach Auer from Crestview. We'll hear from, about their big tournament win. Obviously, it was against a Beechwood team. Crestview kind of went in the clear favorites. They were the 2 seed in the bracket. They were the highest seed in the bracket. They knew they were going to get a favorable matchup in the first 2 rounds. but they didn't really they didn't slow down. They took care of business. We'll talk about that win. We also talked about the road ahead, a little bit of dipping into districts. We know coaches don't like to look too far ahead, but we did have to talk to Coach Hauer about this bracket because it features 4 state-ranked teams and kind of how excited she is to see who gets out of it in the whole district, the super district, the 26 teams that are in it. There are 5 state-ranked teams. Obviously, Lake Catholic is the one that everyone kind of avoided over there in the Minter district all by themselves, the number 1 team in the state, according to the AP. By the way, that's not our rankings, or it's not anything that has to do with numbers. It's just the writers of the state voted them number 1, but they are the number 1 team in the state going into the tournament. So they kind of took their own bracket in Medina, and then Crestview's in their own bracket in Grand Valley. So they got the win first round on Tuesday. Talked to Coach Howard about that. And these coaches' corners are also a chance to just kind of recap the regular season. We talked to all these coaches in the start of the season about what their expectations were. So kind of interesting to see how their expectations lined up with reality and how they were able to go and match up to what they expected. So we take the time to also break down these rosters a little bit, shine a light on some of the players that have meant so much for them for the regular season. And of course, we preview the road ahead in the tournament. So without further ado, here is Coach Alicia Auer from Crestview talking about their first tournament win over Beechwood on Tuesday, and much more on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig here with a Crestview Volleyball Coaches Corner, joined for the first time since way back in the beginning of the season with Alicia Auer. Alicia, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so back at the start of the season, we talked to you about all these expectations that were on you guys and kind of what you expected out of the season. So the first question is, now that we've ended the regular season and you have 1 tournament game under your belt, how did the season go compared to how you expected it to, and what you expected out of these girls?
Honestly, when I looked at the schedule before the season started, 20-2 was ideal. I'm very, very pleased with how we did. In all reality, I have 3 kids that got a lot of varsity time last year, so I had a lot of newcomers. So ending 20-2, winning our first tournament game last night, I'm super excited, very proud of these kids.
You guys have a lot of MVAC championships under your belt, but this year the league felt a little bit different. There were some teams that really put together strong seasons that had struggled in the past. What was it like this year in the league, and seeing more and more teams kind of raise the bar a little bit and compete with you guys a little bit more and give you a little bit more to look at?
I think a lot of teams improved from last year. I definitely, I think Campbell Memorial really stepped up their game. Champion had a much stronger season. So I think all in all, the league definitely leveled up. So it was cool. It was fun. It was exciting. Got a little bit more intense games, more competitive games. So I really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to next year too.
That being said, how proud were you of this league championship, and does it ever get old?
It never gets old. I love to win. I love when we have competitive teams. I mean, winning isn't everything, obviously. You know, as long as the girls are playing their hardest and giving their best. But if we can bring championships home on top of all that hard work, it feels great.
All right, we're talking about all the success, and we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which are the last 2 games of the regular season, or the last 2 losses. I shouldn't say the last 2 games because you ended the season with 2 wins. But Girard and Fitch, back to back after the almost exclusively league schedule, 2 tough teams right at the end of there. What do you see out of your group from those 2 games, and how impressive was it to just kind of be exposed to that level of volleyball right before tournament?
Well, we always play a very tough preseason, so we scrimmage hard. The way our schedule was set up this year, we knew that we were heavy at the end, and we were hoping that would get us ready for tournaments. And honestly, it exposes your weaknesses. It exposes things you need to work on in practice. Like I said before, 20-2 was my goal at the end of the year. Anything better than that would have been phenomenal. But realistically, I think I knew that Girard would be very strong this year. I knew that Fitch would be very strong this year. I think we competed with Fitch. We did not play well against Girard. Not saying Girard didn't play well, because they did. But I think that exposed to us what we needed to focus on in practice. So when we get against teams like Girard or teams like Fitch, that we're able to compete and hopefully pull out some wins.
And you talk about practice. You didn't have a practice between Girard and Fitch. It was Saturday to Monday. So How much did
It
your
was-
coaching staff just take in those 2 games and get like kind of almost excited about practice on Tuesday to really know exactly what you guys had to work on?
Well, it was like a totally jam-packed 2 weeks. We had, I don't even know the number, but we had a lot of games in that 2-week period, and we had very little practice. So it was kind of a balance of these kids need a little time off, they need a little mental break, versus we need to come back and we need to really like pound this. So we ended up having on Tuesday after the Fitch game, we had a fun practice. We did a lot of rotation quads. We did some Queen of the Court, just kind of relaxed and didn't feel the pressure to automatically fix the problems and automatically get everything right. So we kind of relaxed, got back on track. Wednesday was a little more focused, and Thursday, by the time we got to Salem, we looked more like ourselves.
I'm curious on that fun practice. Are there also some more like mental stuff you can work on that isn't exactly physically enduring, but can work on the mental aspects of games and try to keep them focused and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we actually, one of our teachers, Mark Fabian, he's a science teacher here. He meets with our girls weekly. He's fantastic, and he gives them inspirational talks. So we actually had a meet with him last Wednesday. We had a good meet with him today, and that's kind of our mental focus of just positive thinking, really putting in perspective what sports mean and how we can grow from sports and how we can be better people. And he does a great job with them, and he really helps lead our team in that mental aspect.
What was the biggest thing that the Girard and Fitch games taught you about your team, and you hope that gets fixed before the stretch of the tournament?
Just not to freak out, not to doubt ourselves, not to worry about losing, rather than play the game, see what the outcome is. You can't win every game, but if you can compete and you can do your best, then it's going to be a game. So I think we had a bad start in Girard, and we mentally just broke down. So I think that was eye-opening to us, is what to do in that situation and how to try to avoid that situation.
All right, so let's get back to positives and talk about all the good stuff that has happened this year, because a couple of names that people are familiar with in this volleyball pro. Abby Emch, everyone kind of expected her to do what she did. Grace, everyone expects her to do what she did. But so, like you said earlier, new faces that came into this program, understood the standards and met it. How proud were you of those girls to be able to step into this Crestview volleyball tradition that can be daunting when you look at the success it has had, and really just not missed a beat and kept the standard that you guys have in the program?
I'm super proud of them. I mean, we start August 1st, and we start on the track, and we run a mile. First day, I had more girls finish the mile, and the time set. The time we want them to finish under 8 minutes. It's volleyball. It's not track. I know that's not a super fast mile, but it's a mental game. So they have to prepare. They have to be ready to run. And I had more kids finish under 8 than I've ever had in my whole entire coaching career. So that was cool. That was a good start. And that just showed me how hard they were ready to work and how much they wanted to succeed this year. And like I said before, I have 3 kids that actually had a lot of varsity time last year. So, I mean, all those other positions have been filled by kids who were either on JV last year or a freshman that I brought in. So she was in 8th grade last year. And the fact that they've stepped up and they're competing at this level and they're pushing their roles, I'm just elated. It's a great group of kids. They work hard.
It was a great senior class last year. How much have you felt their legacy and their footprints into the leadership of this year?
Oh, I love those seniors. It's funny because I'll look across the stands and I'll see Lainey McCurry over there, and I've seen Hannah Cope and Kendra Greaves, and I've been talking. Lucy Montgomery actually showed up during the hurricane. She got sent home from Florida, so she came to a game, but it was over before she got here. And then I've been keeping tabs on Shelby. So, I mean, everybody who plays Crestview volleyball, they're a part of Crestview volleyball, and even beyond last year's senior class, I've had so many alumni either reach out to me or come to games, come over and give us hugs after the match is over, and it's like a big family. I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Don't want to leave out the returning players just because they're returning and people assume that they do what they have done. Abby Emch, growing from freshman year to sophomore year, what do you think the biggest part of her game growth-wise that you've seen from last year to this year?
Well, Abby only played 3 rotations last year. So this year we wanted to get her playing some defense, serve, receive, and hitting out of the back row. And she's obviously an offensive weapon, but her serve receive is fantastic. She has great ball control. I mean, last year, everybody saw what Abby is capable of doing on the net, and that's continued to improve. But the whole new dynamic of her game is her back row play, and it's really fun to watch. Abby's a very hard worker. She's super coachable. Just a great kid.
Kills why she leads you guys. So she's your best weapon on offense, but she's also a middle blocker. So how much of an emphasis do you guys put on passing to make sure you guys in system so it's really easy for your setters to get the ball into the middle?
Yeah, it's definitely want to keep the ball in our setter's hands so we can put it where we need it to go. We're able to switch Abby to the pin sometimes, which is cool, depending on how our ball control is, depending on our matchups. But yeah, we definitely have been focusing a lot on getting the ball to target so we can run whatever offense we want to run.
And then Grace Hour has 200 plus in three different categories. When you look at it, I mean, I don't want to say it's ho hum, but it's almost like, how has she raised the bar this year compared to the last two that we've seen her do her stuff?
Grace is just a workhorse. She just pushes to get better all the time. She loves hitting, she loves setting, she loves defense. So no matter what position she's in on the court, she's going to give you 100%. She leads by example. Her and Abby both do. They lead by how hard they work at practice, how hard they work in games, and you rarely ever see them take plays off or take games off. They just give 100%. So Grace has really has focused on becoming more of a power hitter. She's always been a power hitter, but she's just finding a love for hitting that she's really stepped into.
I'm curious how vocal your leaders were in the practice after those two Fitch and Gerard games, and how much you kind of got to take a step back and let your leaders lead on the floor.
They did. The cool thing about this team is I could write out a practice plan, set it on the floor, and go hang out in the balcony, and they would do it. They would do everything that I put on the paper, and they would do it well. They're very motivated. My captains are Grace and Meredith Hart, and they're very positive captains. They are encouraging. So in that practice, they knew that we needed to improve, but we also needed to have fun doing it. So they did a really good job of just stepping in and just taking charge.
All right, one tournament game under your belt. You have another one tomorrow. It's finally tournament season, and I know that means you have a lot of things spinning in your mind. You're probably looking at the bracket every now and then just to see what other teams are doing on the other half. What do you think is the best part of tournament time and tournament action in volleyball?
I love tournament time. Obviously, you have your varsity roster in the gym. So you have your varsity roster at practice, and things get very intense. I mean, we can put 6-on-6, and we can really focus on specific things, specific drills, specific skills, and they just get very intense. Like we ended practice today on the 6-on-6 drill, and the coaches and I kind of looked at each other. We're like, this looks really good, like they just step up, and it's just a different feeling in the gym.
You got Waterloo tomorrow. What are going to be some of the things that you're looking for in this game that you want to take if you're lucky enough to advance into the district semifinals?
Ball control. Ball control has been our focus since that Saturday morning at Gerard. So if we control the ball, we control the game. And
I imagine that's something that you keep a very good eye on. Is that the main stat that you look at? I mean, I know a lot of people like the kills and they like the blocks, but I'm sure if you had one stat to kind of tell you how good your team is doing, is it the receiving, or is it something else that you look at?
Totally serve receive. If we can receive the serve, we can put the ball in our hitters' hands, we'll have the kills. If you can serve receive, you can side out. So then there's not going to be a big point differentiation. So serve receive, I mean, that's the most important skill in the game. Not always the most exciting, but definitely the most important.
I know coaches never look ahead, but us as a media, we got to ask you about this bracket real quick before we let you go, because there's 4 state-ranked teams in it, with Lakeview in there, with Kirtland in there, with Middle Ridge in there. What's your expectations of this district, and how hard is it going to be to get out of it?
Listen, between the super district, the 25 teams that got split, there should be a state championship within those 25 teams. I mean, we have Lake Catholic on one side, the next 4 on the other side. It is a tough district. It's exciting. There's going to be some really good volleyball going on. I'm very excited about it.
All right, Coach, we're excited about it too. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow night, and hopefully in the future for more tournament games as well. We thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Great. Thanks so much.
That was Coach Hour from Crestview joining us last night and talking about, like I said, not just their tournament win over Beechwood. That was kind of one that I'd hate to say it was expected, because you can't go into games with that mindset, but Crestview was definitely the heavy favorites. No one's shocked that they got the win over Beechwood. Beechwood was the lowest ranked team in the bracket. So when Crestview got that top seed, they knew that they were going to be a couple of teams back to back that this kind of got forced into the first round matchup with them. So that was one that I think Coach Auer probably got some experience for her younger players in that game, and also did some things that try to test things out a little bit. Try to see if some new things work, see if they can get some new things ready, because despite the first round game against a low seeded team, it gets really intense really quick, because you look at the rest of their bracket, 4 state ranked teams. Crestview finished the season ranked 9th in the state. Lakeview is 10th. They're on the bottom half of that sectional, so that would be a potential district semifinal matchup between Lakeview and Crestview. And then you have Kirtland, who's ranked 13th in the state going out of the regular season. They're down on the bottom half of the bracket as a 3 seed. And then Middle Ridge finished the season ranked 16th in the state, and they're down there at the bottom of the bracket as well. So you could have, if numbers go right, you could have 4 state-ranked teams in the district semifinal in Grand Valley next week, which would be the place to go for volleyball fans. I'll tell you that much. The level of volleyball that would be played there would be something to watch. If Lakeview plays Crestview, Kirtland plays Ridge, that will be excellent volleyball. And, there's still numbers to take care of. All those teams have to take care of business in the sectionals. But if they do, we're going to be really excited as volleyball fans. I'm thinking we as a collective volleyball fan community, I know we have a lot of volleyball fans that tune into YSN, and we're actually making some volleyball fans of commentators at YSN. We got a lot of messages from our announcers this year that were like, man, I didn't know volleyball was so fun to call, so it's going to be a good time. Tournament time's going to be fun, especially in that Grand Valley district in Division 3. No other district, and I could be wrong. There could be other districts in the state, but I know no other district in the Northeast area has 4 state-ranked teams in one bracket. I can confidently say that. There might be some other districts around the state that can say that they have a really good district as well, but Coach Auer is right. There could very well be a state champion out of this super district, and they line up in the regionals. So, the winner of the Medina district, which has Lake Catholic, will play the winner of the Orwell Grand Valley district. So after regional semifinals, someone out of that is going to be alive, and they're going to be 3 wins away from a state championship. So we definitely hope that that's one of our YSN schools. We saw Crestview get so close last year against Independence and Barberton, falling in 5 sets to the Blue Devils, who eventually went on to go to the state championship and fall for the 3rd time in a row in 5 sets in that final game, which has got to be a brutal feeling as a program to get there 3 times in a row and fall every time in 5 sets, be so close to that ultimate prize and not make it. Independence still is in that region, so they're going to be a team that those teams have to watch out for that could possibly make a regional final as well. They're definitely a blue blood volleyball program that will be dominant. One of my takeaways from Coach Auer's conversation, as we talk about that interview, I like that they did not go into Tuesday's practice immediately trying to fix the problems that presented themselves in the Girard and Fitch game on Saturday and Monday. I think it was very smart to say, because all those girls, they're good enough to know that those 2 games expose some stuff they have to work on. But I think if you went right into Tuesday and just hammered it in, it would just kind of, add to that pressure, like, oh, gee, okay, we lost. We couldn't do this right. Now we have to go. I like the idea that because it was a jam-packed 2 weeks, and because it was 2 losses in a row, and because they had a couple of practices in a row, I think it was very beneficial to go into Tuesday and have kind of a relaxed practice. I don't want to say relaxed because you always go in and work on stuff, but kind of a one where they didn't have to feel the weight of the world on their shoulders after 2 tough losses to 2 really good teams. I think that's a great move by the coaching staff to take that mental break, to make sure they're mentally okay after those 2 tough losses that they went in expecting to win, and kind of come back on that Wednesday and say, this is what we have to fix, and really hammer in on those before their last 2 games of the regular season against Salem and Boardman, which they won those 2 games. So they definitely fixed some stuff and got some stuff right in the next 2. But I was impressed that they made that decision to not go in on Tuesday and hammer in on their mistakes. Because I think a lot of coaches, you look forward to those games all season. They're ones that you want to win. And when you lose, especially the Girard game, the way you were played in that game, I think a lot of younger coaches would be really, really quick to get into practice and just try to fix everything. Like, we got to fix everything right now. And Coach Sauer's definitely been doing this a long time. Smart enough to realize that we have time to fix that stuff. We know exactly what needs to be fixed. Our girls are good enough to go in and fix it. So let's not hammer it in on Tuesday and give them even more of a reason to kind of feel anxious about how they played on Saturday and Monday. So very smart decision. I like that aspect of the conversation. That was the one part that really stuck out to me about that conversation. We're going to take a quick break on Running Point. When we come back, we have plenty of other coaches to hear from. We're going to come back and we'll have TJ Irons interview for you next. Head coach of South Range Volleyball, who is fresh off their win in the sectional semifinal over Lakeview. Hold on, got to find the mouse. Welcome to live streaming. There it is. As we head into a break, once again, South Range on deck, and they got the win over Columbiana on Tuesday to advance into the sectional final. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at MyersFamilyINS.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you on this Thursday episode. We already heard from Alicia Auer from Crestview, a great conversation. Want to remind everybody, if you missed that or caught like a part of it, it is up on our website on ysnlive.com, so you can head over there, check out the interview in its entirety. And you can also find it on our YouTube page on YSN Live. And if you are on that YouTube page, whether you're watching here today or you're heading over to try to check out that interview with Alicia Auer, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. Oh, man, a little bit of burpee today. I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button and also give us a like and hit that notification bell as well. YouTube's algorithm, kind of funky. You never want to miss any of the video content that we put up. So make sure to hit that notification button so you are notified every time that we put up a video on YouTube. They are definitely posting stuff on there daily, whether it be coaches' corners, player profiles, post-game interviews. We have a lot of other fun stuff, game highlights. Actually, full games are on YouTube now. Select full games every night, kind of go up on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, hit like buttons on the videos you like, and also hit that notification bell so you are never you're never missing any of the videos that we post on YouTube. Before we get to Coach Irons from South Range, breaking news on Running Point today: the East Palestine versus Valley Christian football game, originally scheduled for Saturday, has been canceled. Valley Christian is actively looking for a new opponent for Week 10. DJ and Richie had a great conversation about this a little bit, and we've had conversations about this all season because it seems like we are not out of the woods of cancellations quite yet. But it stinks to just have a game. You miss a game. It hurts you in the playoff picture. It hurts you in your seating. Valley Christian is not like, they talked about Crestview yesterday because Crestview's teetering on that 16, trying to get into the playoffs. So they're really missing that one game they missed. Valley Christian not really obviously trying to make the playoffs. They're already solidified into a playoff spot, but seating is important. Where you go is important. Who you're matched up with is important. So definitely something to watch. Valley Christian is once again actively looking for an opponent. We will stay updated on that, and we will update you guys on any scheduling changes and any opponent that they do tend to pick up. But once again, Valley Christian and East Palestine on Saturday has been canceled this week. So they are trying to find an opponent for Valley Christian so they can get 10 games into the regular season. And, forget about playoff spots and losing those points, just momentum heading into the playoffs. I mean, you just had a game against Wellsville where you won, but you really did not play your best football. I think Coach Hake would be very honest about that. So I'm sure he would love to get back on the field to kind of get some confidence back into his team and to get some rhythm back into his team before they go into playoffs in Week 11. So very, very tough situation for Valley Christian as they try to find a Week 10 opponent. Once again, we'll stay up to date on that, and we will keep you guys up to date on that as the week goes along. But they don't have too much time, just really one day to find an opponent. So we definitely hope they do because we love watching Valley Christian play football. It's something to watch. With that, we will go into our next coach's corner. It is TJ Irons of South Range Volleyball. And first and foremost, I say this at the end of the interview. I'm going to say it here live on the show. Everyone at YSN, I think I speak for everyone at YSN, we are so happy that TJ is back on the sidelines with this team after everything he went through last year. To see him back in his element and coaching these girls and being on the sideline with them is something that we are so happy to see, and something that he is definitely happy that he's able to be back. So that's one thing I got to get out of the way before we play this interview. Talking about South Range, they've definitely been a different team the second half of the season, and we talk about this in the interview as well. When they kind of realized that they could do things when Maria Primavera was being defended well, and they had other girls that kind of got confident that they could step up and contribute to the offense. then that's when South Range found a really good groove, especially last 2 weeks of the season. They really put special stuff together. They started playing well. They started getting ball control, which means they could set the middle as much as possible. In their first tournament game against Columbiana, Olivia Melli had a really good game, 13 kills out of the middle. I think that's the most a middle blocker for South Range has had all season. You look at that position, and they needed somebody to step up. They lost Hannah Heikkinen, who was a great middle, graduated last year. And the year before that, Izzy Lamparty was the middle blocker. So they've had a couple of years where they've had to kind of fill in roles in that middle blocker position at South Range. So they've done a really good job this year of getting the ball into a setter like Jamie Farron and Sarah Coons' hands. And then, the ball control, getting to the hitters. And then, of course, Maria Primavera, when pressure is taken off of her and you can get blockers to have to focus on other players, you get one-on-one with Maria Primavera. She's going to win a lot of those matchups. She is a very good volleyball player. She's definitely the one that everyone circles on the scouting report for South Range that they have to stop. And she's handled that well, because sometimes when you're the one player that everyone knows has to be slowed down, it can be really frustrating going up against double blocks every time and being defended so well. She's been able to handle that on nights when she doesn't get a lot of kills. She's still getting a lot of digs and does a lot for her team. She's a full rotation player. You don't see too many of those in the volleyball world, especially at this level, and she's definitely one of them. The bloodline is deep. Anna Primavera, her sister, was a 6th rotation player her senior year, so Maria doing the same thing her senior year this year. As a full rotation player for South Range. So we talked to TJ Irons about the win over Columbiana. That was an upset on the numbers. I know a lot of people in South Range wouldn't say it was an upset with the schedule they had to play, but it was an upset with the seeding. They had to go on the road to beat Columbiana. They beat the Clippers in 4 sets, and they move on to play La Brea on tonight. I said on tonight. They go on to play La Brea tonight. That will be in Mentor Lake Catholic, about an hour and a half bus ride for South Range. 6 o'clock start time for that game against La Brea. They will be the first game of a doubleheader. Lake Catholic, the host team, will play after that. Winner goes on to the district semifinals in Medina next week to play the winner of the second game of the night there. So here is head coach of the South Range Raiders volleyball team, TJ Irons. We hope you enjoy this interview. Brought to you once again, Running Point brought to you by Baird Brothers. This interview brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric, like all of our South Range interviews that are not held at Legends Food and Drink. Anthony Hartwig here with a South Range Volleyball Coaches Corner with Coach TJ Irons. South Range, a big win last night in the tournament to open their sectional tournament play against Columbiana on the road. Coach, I guess we'll open with that. I mean, how impressive was it to go on the road, win as an underdog as far as the numbers were concerned and the seeding was concerned? How proud are you of your girls to go and battle a good Columbiana team on the road?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate the time. But, Columbiana is always a tough place. It's always it's a rival for us, being our neighbor. Jen does such a good job, Coach Martin over there with her teams. We scrimmage them every year because we know they're going to be well coached, and we know the girls are going to play hard. And they did it again last night. They played great defense against us. They kept the ball alive. They really did some nice things. And our girls, we came out and played really well early. We had a little bit of a letdown in that third game, but I don't know if it was so much of a letdown on our part initially as it was just Columbiana played really well, and we struggled with that. And then in the fourth game, we got it figured out again, and they changed their mind, and our girls figured out that they wanted to. It was pretty important for them to win, so they got after it a little bit. It was fun to see.
Definitely ups and downs this season in a very tough NEA conference with 3 teams that are top 5 seeds in their district. What are some of your takeaways from the regular season and things that you saw from your team and how they battled through some of the valleys to not let it go and really spiral out of control?
Sure. That's a challenge. Volleyball is just as much, if not more, mental than it is physical. But the schedule we have, I think, we played West Branch early, a bigger school. We played Lakeview twice. We played Girard twice. We played Jefferson twice, all just in our league. And those are 3 of the better teams in our area. And then, non-league, we played Liverpool twice, who was one of the better teams in the area this year. So, you can look at it a couple ways. You can kind of feel sorry for yourself and say, man, we're not winning some of those games. Or you can do what I think our girls bought into was, look, every game is going to prepare you for later, and it's going to prepare you for the tournaments. And hopefully that's what's happened. They battled through. We had some high points. We had some winning streaks. We had some low points and some losing streaks. But down the stretch here, I think we're playing some of our best volleyball. And I think a lot of those tough games we had, tough matches early, have prepared us for this.
What was the message after the end of the regular season? Just the record of the regular season is done and it's 0-0, and you kind of tournament time now?
It is, every coach, it's kind of like one of the coaches' cliche things to say. But at the same time, I felt like that last week of the season, we started to click on some things, and you don't want to say we're just forgetting that. You want to say, listen, we're going to use what we've had, this momentum that we've built up here. But yes, you go in and you say, look, it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what happened record-wise. And let's just go have some fun here in the tournament, see what happens.
You were looking at the stats from last night. Olivia Amelia had a really good night, 13 kills out of the middle. And it seemed like even though Columbiana's defense was really doing a good job, they couldn't really get a good secure block on your attack. So was attacking the middle part of the game plan as you went along to kind of try to attack the net presence of Columbiana and put as much pressure on their back row as possible?
We always like to set middle as much as we can and kind of establish middle and then work our way out from there, because we have two very good middles with Liv Melly and Madison Dado. Madison Dado is just so explosive, and if we can get those guys going and getting their middle blockers to respect them, then that just opens things up even more for our outsides. And with Maria Primavera out there, one of the premier players in the area, really. If we can get her one-on-one blocks, it's really it's tough for people to stop her. Maddie Mook is out there swinging smart. If you saw her on the court, you'd say, man, she's not a very big girl. I can't believe she's an outside hitter, but she's one of the smartest hitters on our team, and she just has a lot of heart. So yeah, I think our setters, Jamie and Sarah do a great job of trying to get the middles established so that it opens everything up, and then we work our way to the outside, and then even on the right side with Ella Krumbacher, she's really come on this year and started to swing smart for us. And then unfortunately we had an injury to Bree Heiner, one of our seniors, but Gretchen Bartels has stepped in for her, and Hayden Carey has spent some time at that position for her. But those guys, they've worked so hard, and even with those girls as well, our other senior leader, kind of starting everything for us is Gianna Pasquale, and she's done a great job at the libero position for us. So I guess I probably said too much when you just asked about the middles, but I think it kind of shows how we build things. We start in the middle, and then we kind of do work our way out from there.
No, you're good, because I was going to bring up a lot of those players anyway, and I'm still going to have you talk a little bit more about them. Yeah. Jamie Farron, I guess we'll go with her first, because she is the newest member of the 1,000 Assist Club at South Range. There are quite a few members in the last decade that have been able to get there. What did it mean to kind of see her reach that? I know she's a 3-year starter in that position in a 6-2 offense this year. What did it mean for you as a coach to see her get that 1,000th career assist?
Oh, it's awesome. You love to see kids get these milestones. The kids that really invest, and Jamie's one that if we had something for volleyball, she would be there. And it didn't matter. We went to a camp at YSU this summer where a lot of people were on vacation, and a lot of our upperclassmen and the girls that were probably going to be varsity starters couldn't make it. So Jamie was really one of the few varsity starters that was there, and she just battled. And it just shows what kind of competitor she is, what kind of heart she has. She is such a good player and such a good teammate. Everybody on the team just absolutely loves her. And I couldn't tell you how excited they were for her during that match at Mooney. They were all counting. And you, as a coach, you're kind of nervous about that because you don't want them to be distracted. But also as a coach, you're excited that they are probably more excited about that milestone than Jamie was that night. It was pretty neat.
All right, now I want to talk about the libero and Gianna Pasquale, because South Range has been known for their liberos the last 10 years of this program. Jordan Youngs, Liza Garlow, Reagan, libero central. You can call it libero central in South Range. How has Gianna stepped into that role this year and really not missed a beat in the libero legacy of South Range?
Yeah. Don't forget Mary Coons in
Mary
there too.
Coons. I was just
I know.
so many.
Oh, trust me.
So
Like
many.
we've had it is a legacy, just like you said. I mean, we've just had some great liberos, and obviously it was excited for me as a dad to watch Reagan be a part of that. Now, Gianna has just stepped right in and done everything that we've asked her to do, and that included leading up into this year. It's been tough on her seeing all these other liberos play and say, that I want that to be me, I want that to be me, and then have to wait till your senior year to do it. But she has shown that she wants it more than anybody. And whether she's passing awesome on a night or maybe she struggles on a couple passes, she has just been an amazing leader for every girl, that whether she's a senior, whether she's a junior, sophomore, freshman, everybody loves G because they know that she's going to go out and she's going to be positive. She's going to work as hard as she can. She's not going to quit on any balls. I mean, she's just she's the type of girl you'd like to have starting those plays for you. So I'm proud of her. She's had a great year.
In a world where you don't really have to wait anymore for your opportunity, what does it say about her that she did wait and she did, do everything that her team wanted her to do in those 3 years leading up to her opportunity this year to be the libero?
Yeah, it says a lot about her. I mean, we in the past, you could ask her if you talked to her. We asked her at one point to be an outside hitter. We asked her to be a setter a little bit. In practice, if we needed a middle, she'd go in and be a middle. And you're right when you say that people a lot of times aren't willing to wait. People aren't willing to be just a great teammate, even if they're not the star on a team anymore. And a lot of people aren't. But Gianna's one of those that was a great teammate all the way through, and then it's led to this year where she's finally getting her shot on the court, and it's showing that she's just she's waited, but she's been working. She's awesome.
We cannot talk about Maria Primavera. You brought her up, one of the premier players in this area. Definitely the bloodline is there with her sister coming through South Range as well. How has she handled being the number one star on the scouting report of every team? I'm sure every team you go up against tries to get as many double blocks on her as possible, tries to slow her down. How has she kind of handled that and tried to kind of just find ways to still get points? You look at her stats; she's still getting those kills.
Oh yeah.
Even if teams are trying to stop her.
She is, and I think someone like her, she's pretty smart, and she knows that maybe not everything that she's going to get this year is going to be in the front row when she's swinging at the ball, because everybody knows when she's up there, they're going to get 2 blocks on her. When we talk about scouting reports, we talk about how important it is to get 2 blocks on this person or that person. And she knows that she's the one on our team that everybody is really concerned about. So she's found ways to, she swings out of the back row a lot. She's a very aggressive server, and she probably impacts the game as much defensively, digging the ball. She's in every serve receive formation for us. She's a girl that doesn't come off the floor. So I think she realized that to have a huge impact on this team didn't just have to be her swinging and hitting the ball, which is kind of what she's done in the past, but she can have an impact all the way around, and she does. And if you watched us play, she's got a huge impact on our team.
Boy, her defense last night too. I mean, 31 digs. She's been doing that all year with doubles in the digs and kills category. What does it say to her that she's bought into the defense too? She's not just someone that goes out there and swings. She's bought into playing back row and doing some of the dirty work that doesn't really get into the limelight or the stat column.
Yeah, I mean it just shows you that's the kind of player that she is, and she's willing to do that, and she's willing on nights where she's not swinging great. A lot of players will say, I'm not swinging great, so, I'm not going to play great defense tonight either. It's not, but she's not a player that lets that happen. If she's not swinging great, that she knows, well, I can still add to my team by being, great on serve receive and nailing passes for my other teammates who are swinging, or, I'm going to make sure that I dig every ball if I'm not going to get as many kills tonight, and sometimes just making an extra play or making a great hustle play can cause you to get going in the front row too. So no, she's done a great job.
When you bring up the nights where she's not swinging great, it seemed like early in the season, if she wasn't putting up her numbers, you guys would suffer offensively. What was the change midway through where other girls could have the confidence to step up and contribute, even if she didn't have a great night swinging and getting those kills?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really know the exact point or exactly what caused that, but the girls, the more experience you get in volleyball and the more situations you're put in, the more you're going to learn your lessons and you figure things out. And that's what's been happening with some of these young girls. You mentioned, Liv Melly, she's a junior and she's finally getting her chance, and she's explosive. And when she is on, like she was at times last night, she runs the net. She swings well. She blocks well. Even if she's not blocking it, she's touching the ball and slowing the ball down. And the same with Maddie Dato. You know, she's another girl, somewhat like G, I guess, that she really has not been in the same position for 2 years now. As a freshman, when Maria went down, she was hurt. Maddie Dato had to come in and be a primary passer, outside hitter for us. And then last year, Maria came back, so we moved her to right side. So Maddie Dato played right side last year. And then this year, we needed a middle. And I went to her and I talked to her about it. And she said, Coach, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And if you've seen some of the times Maddie Dato has swung at the ball, she is the most explosive player we have, and probably one of the most explosive players on the court a lot of times that we played this year. And same thing with that, though, just the more experience that she got swinging at the ball, the more times those balls are hitting the floor and nobody's going to touch them.
All right, you have another tournament game coming up tomorrow. It'll be a long bus ride to Minter Lake Catholic for the 6:00 start against LeBray. What kind of things are you looking for? Have you seen LeBray at all? What kind of things do they pose a threat to? And what do you think are some key to victories for you guys to get into a district semifinal?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen LeBray in person this year. Obviously, I've watched some films here recently. We played him last year in the tournament, and I've watched that film, and I was at that match. Obviously, I was filming. I wasn't able to coach last year, but I was filming it, and so I was kind of standing behind. I think we had a really good shot to win the match last year, but our passing kind of broke down. So I think they're going to keep pressure on you with their serves, and you got to make sure that your passing is on, which is always important for us. And the other thing is they have a girl, Riley McDonough, who I don't think this year we've played anybody like this. There's not many teams out there, but she leads her team in assists and she leads her team in kills both. And she's just a very smart player. You can just tell by the way she plays. There's a lot of things that she does that it almost looks like it's she's not trying very hard, but she just makes things look very easy. So I think she's going to be a key for us. If we can kind of control her and just have a good scouting report on her, know where she's going to put the ball, I think that's going to be our best shot to win because she's a very good player.
All right, before we let you go, I think I speak for everyone at YSN on how good it is to see you back on the sidelines, being able to coach this year. So I got to ask, what is it like for you to be able to be back, and how happy have you been this season, and how much have you treasured this season being back on the sidelines with this team?
Oh, it's been amazing. You know, early on that first match of the year, hearing the national anthem and standing out there, it got to me a little bit. To be honest, you know, just how excited I was to be there, and little things like the national anthem and being able to talk to the girls afterwards and being on bus rides and things that sometimes like a bus ride can seem like such a pain, but you take those things for granted and how much fun you sometimes have on the bus, or, you know, with the girls just goofing around before practice or after practice, or, you know, seeing them dance in the locker room and things like that. So, you know, it's been awesome. It's just, I loved coming back, and then I loved coming back a couple years ago, and then obviously last year with you know, a little setback I had to step away. But man, am I glad to be back on the sideline, and especially glad to be back on the sideline with Kaylee Luckland, who just, you know, she is such a hard worker as an assistant coach. People have no idea. She knows volleyball so well, but also the things that she does for our girls and for our school are unbelievable. I mean, she's constantly writing grants to raise money for our girls. She's asking me every day. She asked about tomorrow with the long bus ride. What do you want me to do? You want me to get some food? You know, what can we do to make this bus ride better for them and make it better? And just being able to throw ideas off of her, you know, has been awesome this year. And she also was the one that kind of was coaching with me before I got sick. And then last year, she kind of was the link that stayed in the program there. And then also when I came back, you know, she's still here. So I can't say enough about the support that she gave me the whole time I was sick, and then now just how much I enjoy coaching with her.
That's probably why every sport wants her to be on the bench.
That's right. That's right. She's awesome.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow against LeBray. We'll be rooting for you, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Good talking to you.
Sorry about that. I was muted, and that is still Ooh, rookie mistake, but it's one that I continue to make. But TJ Irons, great conversation with him, South Range head coach of the volleyball program, and that's always going to be one of my favorite conversations. You know, people that know me know that I'm a South Range graduate. I went to South Range class of 2011, and I was TJ's second class at South Range in third grade. So I met Mr. Irons, we called him back in the day. I met TJ when I was just a little guy in third grade, and he coached the volleyball program back then and coached it all the way up until I think my junior year of high school. He stepped away, and then obviously he stepped back into it a couple of years ago. But it was my first introduction into volleyball, really, to go watch my teacher coach volleyball and some of the seniors that he had that year, with Kaylee Whitmer and the twins, the Whitmer twins that were on the team that year. It was kind of like my first time seeing the sport back when I was a third grader. Kind of one of those sports that I think once you really watch, you fall in love with. And, obviously I've watched it ever since. But it was so good to just see him back on the floor. Last year, it was tough. You spend so much time with that's kind of like my community, South Range. We pour so much energy in other schools because that's my job at YSN, and I love all the communities that I've been able to support and to cover. But at the end of the day, you're still a Raider, right? You're still the South Range Raider alum, and to see one of my teachers that I had go through that last year was tough, man. To see him back on the floor this year, didn't get to see them live until late in the season, so I was kind of really happy that I still got to see them and broadcast one of their games this year. But man, so happy that TJ's able to get back on the floor, and that was one of I just had to ask him about it. I had to ask him what are the things that he treasures about it, and I love that he said the little things. Like, you would expect it to be like, okay, getting in the game mode and getting competitive again, but the little things like listening to the national anthem before a game, the bus rides, the things that a lot of people probably take for granted and think are tedious and they just kind of go through the motions with, are the things that he treasures the most about coming back. And the reality is when you go through that, you don't know if you're coming back to coaching. And that's probably one of the thoughts that went through his head last year. So great to see him back. When we go to volleyball and that team, some of the takeaways from that conversation that I really liked, we talked about Libero Central, South Range. I will say it. I think I'm a firm believer in this, and some other program can come and make a debate, make an argument. But in the last 10 years, I think there have been more really good liberos to come out of South Range than any other program. You look at it, and we mentioned all of them. I think I missed Mary Coons because there's so many, but TJ was right on the dot and brought her up. But Jordan Young started it. She was a great libero, went on to play in college at Muskingum. And then Mary Coons came around. And then you had Liza Garlow. You had Reagan Irons. It's just been libero after libero after libero doing extremely great things for South Range. And now all of a sudden, Gianna Pasquale, who just did her job her first 3 years, did what the team needed her to do. But, I think everyone kind of understood her bright spot where she was going to shine the most was going to be libero. You can't take Reagan Irons' spot because she was probably actually statistically, she was the best libero in the area last year. That's why she won YSN Defensive Player of the Year last year. So you couldn't take her spot. So you just kind of had to wait your turn. And she did that in a culture, in a time period where you don't have to wait. There are ways that you can get on another team and just kind of find an opportunity there. She waited. She did what her team needed her to do. And when this opportunity came around, she took it and ran with it. And she is continuing that legacy of South Range liberos very strong. I'm sure every libero that has gone through South Range is very proud to see her in that gray jersey or white, depending on what color South Range is wearing on the night. When they wear, I think when they're in whites, she's in gray, and when they're in burgundy, she's in white. So, but either way, you know what I'm saying. The libero is a sisterhood, and I'm sure every libero that has come through that program is proud to call Gianna a member now of the Libero Sisterhood, even if it's just for one season. She's definitely left her mark on that. And then some other things about that conversation that I liked. We went over their schedule, and we talk about this with South Range with every season because every sport they play a schedule that goes a little bit above what their division is because they're the smallest team in the NE8. And in football, they're one of 2 Division 5 teams, and then in volleyball, I'm trying to think here. I think they're the only team in Division 3 that's a volleyball team. I'm thinking Gerard, no Jefferson, Niles, Hubbard, no. Yeah, I think they're the only team in the NE8 in volleyball and in basketball as well that is down in Division 3. So when you look at it, they are definitely the smallest team in the conference. So they not only do they play, the Gerards twice, the Lakeview twice, Jefferson twice. Those are 3 top 10, top 5 teams actually in their respective districts. Jefferson's a 5 seed, Lakeview a 4 seed, and then Gerard is a top seed in Division 2. So you play 6 games in a season against the top 5 teams in districts in just your conference, and then you have 2 games against East Liverpool. They played Boardman. They definitely play a schedule that is conducive to a bigger team, I should say. Like they play a schedule that you'd expect to see out of a Division 2 team. So they are really, when they go into a Division 3 tournament, I think they're just a little bit more prepared for a higher level of volleyball than some. And I think you kind of saw that on Tuesday night against Columbiana, because I think one of the things that South Range did well, looking at the stats for both teams, is they kind of saw what Columbiana was a little bit struggling with, and they just attacked it. And they were able to handle the ball well enough to do that, because Columbiana had great defensive numbers, digs for days. I think they had 3 girls with 20 or more digs. So their back row was putting in the work. But because you have so many digs, that kind of tells you that you weren't getting a lot of hands on the ball in the top of the net. So South Range's answer was we're going to go middle. And Olivia Melly led the team with 13 kills out of the middle. So they kind of attacked the block of Columbiana, and I think they were able to do that because they've seen a lot of really good blocking in their schedule. Not just obviously Lakeview with Tara Lytle, who's probably the best blocker now in the NE8, but Gerard has Ezra Dede. They have Bree Littell and Lauren Pallone that both block pretty well in the pins. Jefferson's a good blocking team. They've always been a good blocking team, even without Taylor Skinner, who was statistically the best blocker in the conference last year before she graduated. So I think they've seen a lot of good blockers. They played Boardman, who has Cami Goski, who's a great middle block. They were ready to say, okay, this team in Columbiana can't block our middle, and we're going to take advantage of that. 13 kills out of the middle for South Range, one of the big reasons they were able to beat Columbiana, and they move on to the next round. They will play LeBray. They're still technically the underdog. If you just look at the seed, I think it's 8 versus 9 now. 8 seed LeBray versus 9 seed South Range. 11 seed South Range. I'm sorry. Columbiana was a 9. 11 seed South Range, if I'm not mistaken. That game will be tonight in Minter Lake Catholic, up towards a little bit east of Cleveland. Still about an hour and a half away if you do the Google Maps for Minter Lake Catholic. So going to be a long bus ride. And then here's another takeaway of this conversation. Then we'll take a break and we'll go into our last 2 of the day. I don't think enough people, if there was an assistant coach award, for like the 3 seasons, I think Kaylee Luckland would be someone that would throw her hat in that ring, because not only does she assistant coach for volleyball, she's been an assistant coach for basketball. She's a middle school coach for every year, and then she's coached track and field too. So it seems like she's throwing her hat in the ring in every coaching season. And TJ Irons talked about her and what she's meant to this South Range program. DJ Oakley going back into the fold here. We just got done with the interview with TJ Irons, and I was just talking about how great it is, and I'm sure I speak for everyone at YSN, just to see TJ back on the floor.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And I mean, he is just grit, determination, selflessness. I mean, you can put a bunch of different adjectives into that category personified. TJ's been a great friend and a great support of YSN and myself personally over the years. And I can't thank him enough. Naturally, he's gone through a lot. His family's gone through a lot, especially in the last year or so. And you can't even start to put your finger on what he's feeling right now. You know what I mean? Like how he's got to be, I don't know. When something like that happens, you look at things a little bit differently with a different lens. And I think TJ is in that boat where, he doesn't take anything for granted anymore. And he's blessed, he's favored. And we couldn't be happier to to have him not only still around, but still succeeding in everything he does.
He talked about that. He talked about the little things that he treasures the most, listening to the national anthem before the game, the bus rides that maybe other coaches or other people think are tedious and kind of long. He kind of treasures those bus rides now a little bit more. The post-game talks are the little things are the things that he treasures the most. And if you missed that interview, or if you just came in for a part of it, it is live on our website. You can go over to ysnlive.com, check it out in its entirety. You can also go over to our YouTube page as well and check it out there. We're going to take a break on Running Point. We get back, we still have two coaches to hear from, Chrissy Hughes from Western Reserve and Krista Nesbitt from Canfield. That and more coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
We'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at MyersFamilyINS.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside DJ Oakley. We have 2 more coaches to get through on the volleyball court, and we're going to head down to Berlin Center and talk and hear from Western Reserve's head coach Chrissy Hughes. These next 2 coaches are both first year of the program at the helm, as Chrissy has taken over, and Kristen Nesbitt of Canfield, who you'll hear next, has taken over as well. Western Reserve is the 2 seed in the district tournament. For Division 4, Wellsville got the 1. Those 2 have split into opposite brackets. So Western Reserve, the top seed in their own bracket, they got the bye. They will play Wyndham tonight in Western Reserve and host the Bombers to try to get into districts. Talked with Chrissy about that. Talked with her about the season they've had and some of the players that have stood out for them, and much more. We hope you enjoyed this conversation with first-year head coach for Western Reserve, Chrissy Hughes. Anthony Hartwig here with the Western Reserve Coach's Corner on the volleyball court with Chrissy Hughes, the head coach of the Blue Devils. Chrissy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it is officially the end of the regular season and start of tournament time in Western Reserve. When we had you on back at the beginning, you kind of laid out some of your expectations and your goals for this team. How did the season compare to kind of what your expectations were and the goals that you set for these players?
I believe it went really well. Our goal from the beginning was to play 1 point at a time, 1 team at a time, and, just keep on working hard through every single point. We had our ups and downs, as, most do. But I know with my 3 seniors that I had all playing different positions that are used to playing, they really came through. Their hard work is paying off. And again, we are back to play each point for point.
And now, point for point in tournament time, you've officially received your opponent. Wyndham got the win in the first round, so they'll be heading over to you guys. How exciting is tournament time, and what kind of changes in the atmosphere and the feeling around the locker room when tournament time comes around in the calendar?
Yeah, we just talked today at practice. Like, this is it. It's do or die. So we can't wait for, sorry, my bad, we let that ball drop. So we talk about that a lot throughout this whole season, and we talk about effort and attitude. That's kind of our main theme that we've been working on this year, and so we just said it has to be every single point. We are going to go down playing our hardest, and that's what I want them to do.
All right, so you have a lot of players that have done a lot of good things this year. I'm going to give you a chance to kind of highlight all of them in the season they had. I'll start with Olivia Hughes. I think she's the one that everyone circles when they go to play you guys, the one that they want to slow down first of all. So what have you seen from her, and what has been the biggest growth point you think from her this season to last season?
Yeah, I feel like that she's positive out there. I think in the last few seasons, just maybe being younger, she would get frustrated if she couldn't get a hit or if she couldn't get a kill or her pass was off. I don't really see too much frustration out there from her, more so when we come home, but she's not showing that on the court, even if she doesn't have a good night. So I do believe that she's growing in that atmosphere, and I'm proud of her for that. She is looked up to. People like to go to her and make sure that she's on. So if she is off, it is a big struggle, and she doesn't want to let anybody down.
Lisa Eichert is probably part of that 1-2 punch that you guys have. What about her, and how much pressure does she take off of Olivia to not have to be, getting 20 kills per night?
Absolutely. Lisa is one of our captains this year, and I have really seen her grow. I've coached her all the way through since she's been in 4th grade as well. She is such a great leader out there. She is always pulling people up. Again, if she's in the front row, Olivia's in the back. If Olivia's in the front row, she's in the back. They both are great diggers. They both are good passers. So I'm really proud of all of them for, it's both of them. Their stats are, one's a little higher than the other just because of maybe certain things. But for the most part, they definitely rely on each other. They bring each other up. And I don't think either one could do it without the other.
How do they differ? Like, how is defending Lisa Eichert different than defending Olivia Hughes, do you think?
Lisa went through some knee injury last year, so I think she changed her game. She changed her game to be smart. She's very smart volleyball player. She knows the court. She knows the opposite court. Lisa knows when to tip, when something's open, or when to just flat out hit it hard. So I believe that, Lisa looks at that and says, I can tip and I can go to this spot. Olivia does that as well. I think Olivia more, wants to hit that ball hard and go down. Where Lisa, in her mature age and now she's became a junior and a leader on that court, she knows how to be smart with the ball and make sure that it's a score, not always just that hard hit. Or if she's hitting out of bounds, she knows try again, but she also knows let's be smart.
All right, we know that your hitters can't do much if the ball control isn't there, and Allie Jones has played really well as a libero, kind of leading that back row. What have you seen from her, putting on that different colored jersey and being a leader back there in the back line?
Yes, Allie is a junior as well, and she is so fast. She is so fast. So you think that the ball's going to hit the ground, and she can go dig it up. She gets very frustrated with herself if it's not a perfect pass always. So I definitely have been working with her, making sure she's staying positive because we definitely need her. We need her in that back row. She covers everyone. If somebody thinks they're not going to go for the ball, she's back there to pick it up in the back row. Or if it's a bad set and somebody oversets it, she's in the front row too to cover that. So she is all over the place and definitely a key player for us that has her hustle. There's no other hustle.
All right, you have experience in the setter position, but new positions for him because you had a setter for 3 years at Western Reserve, and now you have two people that had to kind of step into this new role as a setter. What have you seen from them and their growth throughout the season?
Yeah, so Raylyn has been a setter for Western Reserve, but she has played, mostly on the JV. She got a little bit of varsity, but she definitely is hard on herself. She is such a positive person out there. I am really impressed with both of them with being able to play defense because they both have good hands. We probably have a double every game and they know it. They know it. And they've worked so hard on that. They want to not have a double and they want to put the ball where it can go. So I know that they've worked hard. I also have a sophomore setter. She's working hard too. So I am so proud of these girls for all the time and effort that they put in, because let's face it, that setter out there is a leader because they touch that ball every single time. So they definitely have put the hard work in. Again, I'm really proud of them for getting on the ground and digging because it's a lot faster in a varsity game. Or for Madison, she's never set. She never set in any level high school game. So she came in with no experience setting at all, and she's definitely stepped up. We talk about it all the time, our passing. We have to get that pass on target because our setters are not as experienced, and it's harder for them when it's a bad pass to make a play out of it. But they are doing an excellent job and they work hard. And again, point for point, forget about a bad set, forget about a bad pass, and we have to move on. But they definitely have showed they care, their work ethics, they work super hard.
Someone else we had the chance to talk to early in the season, and I want to highlight is Angelina Capabianca in the middle, making sure that at least some balls don't get through that back line and taking some pressure off your back row with her net presence. What have you seen from her this year?
My middles both have worked so hard. They are, Angelina is so much enthusiasm and so much energy. She wants to get that block and she'll say, I need to get 3 blocks this time, or I need to get more. I'm going to get this girl next time. So she has that enthusiasm and that energy to do the best that she can. And she has really come around in that front row blocking. I know even in travel, she played right side. So she played a little bit of middle before just because we need somebody there. And she has stepped up tremendously in the middle. Not only just with her blocks, but she's also passing better. She's also serving really good for us. And she is hitting. She is hitting hard and she's getting some kills along with being that big block. Daylin Brown also. She's our other middle. And she actually has the most blocks on our team. But she is a super blocker and she is aggressive. And, we couldn't, it's volleyball. We need all 6 players out there to win. And I feel like they all are in. They're all in.
All right, you guys played in a really tough MVAC, not just Middle Ridge who won it, but Jackson Milton's always scrappy. Western Reserve's in there. McDonald has a great team, a lot of great players on that. What was it like to go through that conference, and how much do you think it has prepared you for this bracket that you find yourself in for the district?
I am amazed how much it's prepared us. That first week was tough for us. I thought we might go 0-4. I mean, we had, it was a tough first week for us, and we ended up coming out 3-1. So I was super proud of that. But it's like we talk about every game as a battle. Every single game we play, we have great competition. I mean, we went 5 with Jackson. They're so scrappy. They do not let anything fall. So we talk about that all the time with whoever we play. Guys, you have to play for every point. And I know I keep coming back to that, but it's so true with this team this year. You have to fight for every single point. And I tell them, I don't care if it's 24-1. We are fighting for every single point, whether we're the 1 or we're the 24. It didn't matter. And so this league is tough. We talk about it amongst coaches in the league as well. Hey, who's going to show up tonight? Because we make a ton of mistakes, but that's the game of volleyball. And I believe every team makes those mistakes. So we definitely are focusing on every team. It depends who comes to show up to play, because anyone could win in our league. We are definitely tough. And I know that has helped us throughout. So we get through these next couple games, which again will be point for point. All that experience of playing that MVAC was a huge help for us.
These next couple games are tournament time, and I know coaches don't like to look ahead, but I just want to know your thoughts on this bracket, some of the teams that fall into it. It seems like a lot of the higher top 10 seeds didn't really want to deal with Wellsville, so they kind of moseyed on into your brackets. You have a lot of parity in here, a couple of familiar opponents, a couple of non-familiar opponents. What was your takeaway when you kind of got the bracket in your hand and you got to look at it and see some of the teams that you find yourselves with?
Yeah, so I didn't really know too much about Wyndham. I went out and watched them play. So that was just an eye opener. I don't want any surprises. I want us to be prepared to look. The lower bracket in our district is Lake Center Christian and the Canton South Catholic. I'm definitely going to watch them play on Saturday. If we win tomorrow, I think I don't know too much about them. I know that they're strong. They end up with a good record. They play some good teams as well. I saw some Division I, Division II teams that they had went against. So I just think it's like one game at a time, 1 point at a time. I just believe in that. I believe we need to focus and really make sure that we are fighting point for point.
All right, if there was kind of a couple of things that you think you've worked on the most since the end of the regular season and practices leading up to this first tournament game, what are some of the things that you think the team and the girls need to improve on the most before they get ready for this tournament run?
I know it's hard to say, but I was a little disappointed in our free balls that comes over the net. And I think that we should have a good pass and a good set. Again, because where we're at with our team, we need to pass that ball on target. So I think the past week and a half, which, we haven't practiced for a week straight since August, we focused on passing. That was our main focus for this entire week, whether it's serve receive or just free ball passing. So I'm hoping that shows a little bit in the next game, just to make sure that, we are getting that ball on target so we can at least have some targets to hit to.
Let's talk about that. The practicing for a week straight, that doesn't happen in volleyball during the regular season. You might be lucky if you get 1 or 2 practices in a week.
Right.
What kind of advantage is it to just have kind of that week where you can expose all your weaknesses, lay everything out, work on everything you need to work on, and be as sharp as possible come tournament time?
Yeah, it is a huge difference, because I feel like in practice, I know my girls have such a good attitude, and I feel like when we're at practice, we're always working so hard. And, there's a couple fun games that we can play that are definitely also helping us. But I always think, oh gosh, I don't know if we have time to play that game. So because we had these 5 practices, they're like, I would let the JV their last game, pick a game. What do you want to play? So just to get a little bit more of that calm fun in there, which is still working on something. So today was their big, let's serve with our eyes closed and videotape ourselves. So that was our fun game today to relax a little bit during that 5 minutes of practice. So we tried.
That's been it's been a volleyball social media trend, so they are definitely joining the cause.
We did today. That was our first one. They've been asking me for a couple weeks. I broke down to do it.
Who did the best? Who is the person that did the best at that?
Actually, it was Angelina. She got it over.
Now did they make you do it too? Because I've seen a couple of coaches that they wrangle into.
Yeah,
they
I
make
couldn't
you do
touch
it.
the ball. Did not even touch it. I had to do it 3 times because I was so mad. I was like, wait, I didn't even touch the ball. So then I did it a couple more times. I think the 4th time my fingers barely touched it. Crazy.
All right, Coach. I know you probably already answered this, but I'm gonna ask anyway. What do you think is the key to victory tomorrow in your first tournament game?
I just think we need to be consistent, making sure we're doing good passes on serve receive. Sometimes my team doesn't like to communicate as well as they should. So I want us to communicate well. I want us to have good passes. Passes. That's my goal this week. Passes.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on a great regular season. We wish you the best of luck in tournament time. We're rooting for you. We hope you bring up as many wins as possible. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for all your support. We do appreciate it.
Chrissy Hughes from Western Reserve joining us, and they will play Wyndham tonight in Western Reserve in the sectional final. The other game at Western Reserve tonight at 7:30 will be Springfield versus Southern. That is 6 versus 7. So that should be a really fun matchup between the Tigers and Indians as the nightcap in Western Reserve. But without further ado, we're going to go right from that into the last Coach's Corner of the day. Got a chance to talk with Kristen Nesbitt from Canfield about their first win over Ravenna and the route ahead to a district championship. First time in Division II for the Columbiana volleyball team in quite some time. They've been Division I for a while. Smallest Division I team. Now they get into one of the bigger Division II teams. We talk a little bit about that, a little bit about her players that have stepped up big for this season and more. So enjoy this conversation as well with Canfield head coach Kristen Nesbitt. Anthony Harwig here with the Canfield Volleyball Coach's Corner with Kristen Nesbitt. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Tournament time is here. It's your first go-around tournament time with this group as the varsity head coach. What has been kind of the feel and how have things kind of changed around the locker room and the gym and practices when tournament time kind of hits?
I mean, all season we're working really hard to make sure we have a good record, make sure we're playing our best volleyball right before tournament. Now that it's tournament time, I'm really kind of emphasizing to the girls, like we all enter tournament with a record of 0-0. It doesn't matter who was seated where. If we want to win it all, we've got to go out and compete every night, regardless of where we're at kind of in the tournament draw. So I think there's a little bit more kind of pressure as we know this is it. Like tomorrow's not guaranteed. We have to go out there and win if we want to keep playing. And so I think there's kind of been an intensity that our girls have been bringing to practice because they know like we're playing for each other and we want to go far.
As much as you kind of have the message that it's 0-0, you also, I'm sure, want to take away some of the things that you did so well in the regular season and not let them forget that those things happen and wash away those things. Mm-hmm. What kind of things do you think these girls did so well in the regular season that you hope they continue in tournament time?
Yeah, absolutely. Our team has, I think, a few different strengths. One, I think our serving all around is a big strength for us. I feel like any of my girls on the court, I feel confident that they can hit a good spot or kind of put us at an advantage on the serve. Another big advantage of our team is our defense. We don't let many balls hit the ground. We're a really scrappy team. There's even times where I'm watching and I'm like, wow, I can't believe we got that back over the net. And lastly, and I think this is kind of our biggest strength, is we're really a team. You know, we don't rely on just one girl to make all the plays for us. It requires all 6 on the court to kind of step up and do their role. And all year we've been saying, keep doing your role. Like, trust your teammates and just do your job. And I think that's what makes us really hard to kind of game plan against, is that at any given time, any one of my girls is ready to make a play.
All right, so those are your strengths. What are some of the things that you think they need to improve on, and you hope that you can use this kind of time to get better at before the tournament starts?
Yeah, we've really been working on our side and cleaning up anything that we can do to limit our errors and stay aggressive even out of system. We spent a lot of time working on hitting different shots instead of just swinging away. We're not the tallest team in America. Most often teams we play are a little bit taller than us. So we're really working on, being able to roll to the middle and then tip over the block and tip deep and then swing away. And then, oh, look, my dog is getting into this camera.
We love dog cameos. Yes. Such a good boy.
And another thing I think we've been focusing on too is kind of picking apart on the other side. Where are their weaknesses? What can we take advantage? Should we take a hitter out of the system? Do we want to take their setter away? Is there someone we want to serve to? Is there someone we don't want to hit at? And that's been something we've really kind of been focusing on, and at practice more designating a person to be that given role.
There it is again. We love it.
I know. He
wants to put his input. Like, hey, I got some good volleyball knowledge too. So many seniors on this team. Have you felt kind of an intensity going into tournament time from them, especially not wanting this game to be their last career volleyball game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked yesterday before we played Ravenna, and I'm like, this is it. Like, it's do or die now, really. Like, you lose, we're done. And so, some of my seniors really stepped up and said, like, let's just do it for each other too. Like, let's play for each other. No one wants this to end. This is our last little run. Let's go out with a good run.
How have you managed kind of trying to bottle that intensity, but not let it turn into tightness almost? Like if I make this mistake, my volleyball career is over, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing our team really has to kind of balance. And, these girls want to win so bad. Every one of my girls is competitive. Every girl, I know that they are on the court, they want to win. So they almost sometimes feel that pressure of, well, if I don't do this right now, like, we're not going to win. And so we've been trying to work on some situational things at practice, like the score is 20-22 and you're down. Don't panic if you make a mistake, but let's work together and figure out a way to win this. And so I think that's kind of a big challenge for us, is just we play so much better when our girls are playing with confidence and they're having fun. And so for me, I keep challenging them to remember to have fun through all this. Like, even though there's pressure and we want to win, if you're having fun, then automatically we start playing with more confidence. We start having more energy. And I think overall, it just helps us.
Are you not Division I anymore? You've moved down to Division II. I know it's something that especially the girls' side of the athletics program has been just wanting so bad for the last several years. But you still have that Division I schedule. How has that prepared you for tournament time, do you think?
I really appreciate our schedule because we really don't have any games that are just an easy win. So we knew kind of all 21 games that we played this year, we were going to have to show up and we were going to have to compete. And I think in the beginning of the season, we had some games that we wish we could play them again because we were like, well, I feel like we're a better team now. But I think because we played that competition all season, we're playing our best volleyball right now as we're entering into tournament and just played our first game. And so I'm excited that we have that experience. We have games that have been to 3. We have games that went to 4. We have games that went to 5. I think we're really ready for whatever any team's going to bring at us.
All right, so you got the win over Ravenna under your belt. You have Perry next. Give the Canfield fans a little scouting report on Perry. What obstacles they face and what challenges they're going to present to you guys.
So we actually had the luxury of watching them last night because they played Streetsboro after us. So all my girls stayed and we were able to watch them play Streetsboro. Perry's definitely a good team. There's no doubt about it. On our side, we're going to really try to capitalize on our serving and take advantage of going on some runs. They have a really good, I say both their outsides are, kind of their go-to hitters. They set them the most, especially number 17 for them. So today we worked on practice, knowing where she is at all times and trying to take away some of her shots with a block. Besides that, they're a scrappy team. They keep a lot in play. They do a lot of really good things. I think it was good for our girls to see it because they were able to watch and pick up points that they thought we need to take away on their side and things that they think we can do to kind of score some easy points.
All right, when we talked to you back at the beginning of the season, it was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, first year as a head coach for varsity. Now you've gone through the whole regular season. You've probably taken everything that a head coach is going to take. What has met your expectations about being a coach at this level, and What kind of things did you not expect that happened about being a varsity head coach?
I think one thing that kind of threw me off is you don't realize how many meetings and how much paperwork and how many emails kind of are behind the scenes. So that's been a big thing for me, is just kind of like make sure I'm at all those OHSAA meetings and make sure I'm kind of staying up to date on everything. I've enjoyed this year a lot, though. The girls make it great. They're the reason I enjoy doing it. It's been fun. It's been competitive. And I know I don't want it to end. And I think the girls are in the same position as me. And we're hoping to keep riding this out as long as we can.
If I took you back to your playing days, do you think you would see yourself as a varsity head coach back then?
You know, when I was in high school, I loved those little kid camps, and I was like, that was my favorite thing to do. And the girls would be like, oh, we got to work this camp. And I loved it. And so I think a part of me, always knew that I wouldn't want to leave the sport. If I could go back, I'd probably be a little bit harder on myself when I was playing as a coach now. So I think playing's definitely helped me, become a better coach.
All right. What are some of the standards that you've set already in this program? And we talk about the future of it as you go into year 2, year 3, year 4. Obviously, the first year is just kind of setting the philosophy, setting the standards. What kind of standards do you think you've set already just for this is what Canfield volleyball is going to be while I'm the head coach?
I think the biggest things for me is, one, I need girls that are going to be competitive and they're going to have a good attitude. And that for me goes a really long ways. I can't have girls that accept the ball hitting the ground in front of them or just accept, oh, we played well, but it wasn't good enough. I need girls that are always striving to keep getting better and better and better. And I think that kind of comes with the attitude piece as well. I need you to be a really good teammate, whether you're on the court or whether you're on the bench, whether you play 6 rotations, whether you go into serve, whether you play 3 rotations, whatever it may be. I need girls that are going to build each other up, because it can be hard and seasons get long and it goes up and down and you win some, you lose some. So I need girls out there that I feel like I can trust to always give 100% and always continue to make others around them kind of feel better and challenge those around them to also bring their best.
Okay, do you want to talk about some of your roster before we let you go and highlight some players? Because we didn't know what kind of season they were going to have when we talked to you the first time. It was just expectation. So I'll start with Riley Kincaid because she met the milestone. She got her 1,000th career assist earlier in the season. What have you seen from her? Just I know you've coached her for a little bit. What have you seen from her and definitely her work ethic to get to that milestone?
Riley is one of my hardest working girls, and I'm so excited and proud that she got her 1,000th assist. She deserves it 100%. She's one of those girls that will work until we're all leaving the gym. I mean, we'll leave practices and she'll be like, Coach, I wasn't really sitting well at practice. Can we stay a few more minutes and do some more? I just want to work on my back set. And that just shows you the drive and the determination she has to keep getting better. She'll watch film and she'll even say to me if she doesn't dig a ball or if she doesn't set it, like, what did I do? Because she wants to fix it right away. And that's showing me she's super coachable and she's always trying to get better. She's been a huge asset for us this year. Especially she's our starting server. She's leading in aces for our team. So not only has she been giving us assists, she's been giving us great defense and great serving.
All right, we'll move on to, in my opinion, the biggest asset that no one talks about, which is Parker Wilkins in the defense. Almost never lets the ball drop. Just so much fun watching her play defense. What have you seen from her this year especially?
Parker is one of those girls that just leads by example always. And when I talk about I need girls that are competitive and girls that give 100%, that's Parker to the T. I mean, we could be losing 24-0 and Parker will be diving into the bleachers to save a ball. That's just the kind of player she is. And I told myself when the season started, I have to constantly remind myself to tell Parker how good she's doing, because when the ball comes over the net, I just automatically assume it's going to be a perfect pass from Parker. And that's just the confidence I have with her back there. She does a great job reading her hitters. Her serve receive is great. She's done a great job stepping in when our setters take the first ball. She's just one of those girls that has such a competitive and an intensity that you just want her on the court at all times. And she is the heart and soul kind of our team and our defense.
Do you get kind of a wry smile whenever a team walks in and thinks they can serve Parker? Like, okay. You didn't do your homework.
And like sometimes we'll play teams with great hitters and they'll get a kill and she'll look at me and she'll be like, I got the next one. And I'm like, I know you do. Like I don't think twice about that because I know she's that kind of girl that will be like, okay, you're not going to get another kill on me. I'm going to dig you.
All right, so we talked about your setter. Well, one of your setters, you had two of them, which I think is really cool. But a perfect pass and a perfect set usually equals a set to the middle. So let's talk about your middles, especially your senior Abby Muckleroy. I think there was so much put on our shoulders this year because, you lost Abby Householder, who's going to be the main offensive star. And a lot of people were kind of just looking right at Abby saying, all right, it's your time to shine. How has she handled kind of that pressure, I guess I would say? And how has she handled just being a senior leader this year?
Abby's really stepped up into the role, and I've loved watching her grow over the last few years and really owning her confidence now. And when she's in the game, she dominates that net. I mean, she's running stuff now. She's running C's, she's running A's, she's running stuff out of system. And I've seen her go from only being able to hit one spot on the court to now being able to hit any shot off of any set. And so it's been really fun to kind of watch her and just be an offensive beast out there. And then my other middle is Addie, and Addie's also a senior. And I saw it halfway through the season this year, I feel like she just turned a corner. And when she is on and she just brings such an intensity about her, there's no one that can stop her at that net. And so it's a really nice balance because the two of them have different kind of strengths. And Abby's really good at, swinging away. And Addie's been really good at hitting those deep corners or hitting a short little tip and kind of keeping that defense on their toes. So it's really nice to have both of them to go in and kind of switch up. Makes it a little bit harder for the defense.
All right, so we talked about one setter. I want to talk about the other one too. Another senior. So many seniors on this team. Let's go down the list. Carly Slavin. What kind of things make her a little bit different than Riley, and how does your offense kind of change it up when she's setting as well?
So we asked Carly to kind of wear a lot of hats on our team. Carly will swing in the front row for us. She'll set for me. I ask her to serve, spot serve all over the place. I ask her to dig. So she's kind of one of those girls that can really do it all. I have full confidence if I needed her to be my setter, if I needed her to be my outside, if I needed her to play back row. She's just that kind of player. And I think she makes us so much better when she's on the court because she just brings that consistency about her and she's always able to hit different shots. Her and Riley are both very good setters, but the girls kind of are used to, hitting off of a certain one. Her and Addie played club together for 2 or 3 years, so they're used to kind of running things. So I think there are advantages to who they're comfortable with, and I try to work them to get 2 rotations off that setter.
Outsides, got to give outside some love in the pins. Maddie Cleveley, 150 plus kills in her senior season. What kind of things does she excel at? Not just outside, you see her play. Everyone on your team plays defense. I'm convinced that everyone, even if you ask your middles to go back there in the back row, they'd be able to dig too. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, so Maddie's been also one of those just consistent players that you just want on the court at all times. Her defense just speaks for itself. Nothing hits in the back row on the left side when she's back there. She's digging balls that I feel like no one should ever get touches on. In the front row, Maddie is not the tallest girl. She's only 5 foot short. I'm not really sure, but not very tall, especially compared to a lot of these big schools that we've been playing. And Maddie has really learned to kind of adjust her swing to use the block, to hit over the block, to hit to deep corners, to tip. And that's really made her such an offensive threat that teams don't know where she's going to hit the ball because she has so many different shots in her back pocket.
I feel like if we talked about all your seniors, we'd be here for another half an hour.
I know.
Start to generalize a little bit the rest of your roster and some of the things that have really stuck out for you as things that you guys have really excelled at this year, player from player.
I think I've had a lot of girls step up into different roles, and I really think what makes our team so special is that everyone who's on the court is contributing. I don't have anyone that I put on there that I'm like, oh, don't set the ball to them or don't hit it to them. I trust with full confidence every one of my girls. And when they trust each other, it's a real special thing. I have Alana Lawson, who's a senior, who's a big defensive threat for us. She's always digging balls. She's great at serve receive. Bella Bucciarelli is my other outside hitter. Again, she's been just so consistent for me all year. She brings a little bit more power on the outside. I've had Caitlin Batcha as my right side, who somehow will get crazy balls that are out of system. She'll put them right down. I have other girls, just role players on the bench for me, Bella Bruno, Meredith Ross, Alexis LaFour. So I have girls that I feel like we're pretty deep, that I could throw in anyone at any time and fully trust them.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, we've talked about what Perry brings to the table tomorrow. Give us a couple of keys to victory for you guys if you want to get into a district semifinal tomorrow against Perry.
I think we have to take advantage when their hitter is in the back row and use that to kind of build and earn some points on our side. I really think we need to capitalize on our own serving and not just serve right to them, but work on hitting some of those seams or those deep corners. And I think we need to continue to play our speed and our pace. And that includes kind of playing with a little bit of energy. One thing we noticed when we watched Perry was Streetsboro was able to go on a little bit of run when they had some energy. And for us, if we can keep that energy and keep that momentum and kind of keep like a intensity, but also enough relax that we're having fun, I think we're going to be in good shape.
All right, Coach, congratulations on the first tournament win and all the success you've had in the regular season. Wish you the best of luck against Perry and the rest of the way. We'll be rooting for you, that's for sure. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thanks, and thanks for having me. We appreciate everything you do.
All right, that'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We thank all of our guests for taking their time out of their day to come on and be with us. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3, Power Hour from 3 to 4, and then check out ysnlive.com scoreboard for live updates on all the scores tonight in tournament games. Thank you so much again for tuning in. This is Running Point brought to you by